This is the plaintiff, Serafina Muslim. She says she and the defendant, her ex-friend and roommate, had a falling out, and now she's owed money for rent and security. She's tried reasoning with the defendant. The girl is as stubborn as they come, and she's here suing her for the $700 she's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Altercation Thomas. She says the plaintiff tried moving her boyfriend into the apartment they shared, and when she told her she wasn't comfortable with the new living arrangement, the trouble started. They couldn't even speak to one another without the cops being there to keep things calm. The plaintiff is the one who actually owes her money, and she can't wait for the judge to sort all this out. She's accused of letting a boy come between friends. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,100, the cost of a car plus slander.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. These litigants were roommates, and the plaintiff says the defendant stiffed her on rent, but the defendant says the plaintiff tried moving her boyfriend in, and things went south because he was living for free. It's the case of sleeping with the enemy.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Serafina Muslim.
Yes,
you are suing Altercation Thomas, your former roommate, for $150 in security deposit and $550 in March rent. You are counterclaiming against her for broken promises on a car sale and slander. Let me hear from you first. What happened?
Well, first I met her through a mutual friend. Prior to maybe a month or so after, she got kicked out of her house, which she was staying with her boyfriend. And, she got kicked out. It was like 2 a.m. I just dropped her off, so I wasn't going to leave her outside like that.
Wait, kicked out by whom?
Her baby father.
Okay.
Because he had another woman in there. So I said, okay, I'm down the street. I live down the street from her. I said, okay, just come. I'm in the car. So she comes to the car, and basically I slept in the car with her this night because...
I'm sorry, you did what?
I slept in the car with her this night because she got kicked out of her place.
What about your place?
She can't stay in my place. My mother don't play that.
Okay.
My mother don't play that. So we was in like a month straight.
Sleeping in the car?
Car or hotel, yes.
Okay.
Which I could have been home with my son, but being a friend to her.
You'd rather be with her than your son?
It wasn't, I was with my son off and on, of course.
Okay.
Always,
who is the person with you?
This is my sister, Tanasia. She was a witness.
Who is the person with you?
My mother.
Okay, so go on.
So, yeah, my mother asked, why are you doing this when you could be home? I was like, it wouldn't be right. She's out there. Like, I don't feel right. That's not me. That's not the type of friend I am. So being
I don't know. You've got a son who needs you. So I'm not finding you to be a stellar. I don't know whether you're saying that because you want brownie points, but I'm horrified.
I'm always with my son. It's not my mother's
you're
saying
clearly
like
not
me,
always with your son. If you're sleeping in a car with your friend.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So my mother
you
said,
have a mother. Why didn't you just go to your mother?
No, that's what I was going to say. It was not a month.
Okay. All right. So now what ends up happening?
She have a DIFUS case. Through the process of that, she said...
she has a DIFUS case, meaning the Department
she said that the DIFUS was saying...
Stop. Meaning the Department of Youth and Family Services was investigating you. Do you have another child?
Yes, I have a 1-year-old son.
Okay. So was there an open case?
Yes, there was.
Okay.
And she was getting an apartment through them. They was paying us security.
Okay.
So if you want to, we can move. You can move in with me, and we could go half on the rent. I said, how much is it? She said $1,100. This was in Perth Amboy.
Okay. So what day or what month do you guys move into an apartment together?
Okay, it was February.
Okay, February of 2015 or 2016?
No, 2016.
Okay. So you move in February of 2016, and it's an apartment that the Department of Children and Youth and Family Services helped you to obtain.
Correct.
All right. And were they paying for it? No.
No, they just paid the security deposit.
To help you out. And then the total rent was $1,100?
No, the total rent was $900.
Okay.
I was charging her $550 to stay with me. That's $450 for rent, and the other $100 was to be added to utility bills because I don't charge her separately for utilities.
Okay.
That wasn't what was said, man.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. She tells you, do you want to live there? It's $550, and you say yes, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what happens?
Basically, she yelled at me for not washing dishes. Supposedly, she left a letter over the sink. I come in the house 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe, and her room is closer to the kitchen, so I don't want to go in there, scraping and washing and making noise. So I would leave them in there to the next morning when I get up, cook breakfast or whatever, like we normally did in the beginning. I guess she made a big thing about that. Cranky. My boyfriend sleep with me every night. Her boyfriend dip off on her. She's in there by herself, miserable. She take her attitude out on me.
So she tells you that you got to go?
Oh, well, I moved out on March 12th. She had my vehicle at this point in time.
Why did she have your vehicle?
Because I was gonna let her buy it off me. She was trying to give me 6
You
for
were
it, and I
supposed
wanted
to
8.
buy that, and that's part of your counterclaim. You were supposed to sell her your vehicle, which was what kind of car?
A Maxima.
And you were supposed to sell that to her for how much?
600. Well, she was telling me she was giving me 600, but I told her I wanted 8.
Okay. Had you agreed on 6 or 8?
Yes, we have. I have a receipt.
Okay. Let me see the receipt that you have. So she was supposed to buy it for what according to the receipt? 6?
Yes.
All right. And then, so she's driving it already, and she'd given you how much? 200?
Yes.
And then it says 400 owed in the receipt. So
Correct.
she was supposed to pay you another 400. Then
Yeah.
everything hits the fan and you take the car back, correct?
Correct.
So who decides to move out? You decide to move out, or she decides to kick you out, or how does it work out?
She decided to keep calling the cops, getting them to come over, and I basically got tired
What'd
of
you
that.
call the cops for?
I called the cops because, as she was explaining for the incident that occurred in February, her and her boyfriend jumped me. I'm currently 8 months pregnant. At the time, because there was an altercation over the dishes, which I did leave a note, because if you come in at 2 or 3 in the morning, you're loud enough to cook and make all these dishes, you should be responsible enough to clean up. You're both grown. You're always telling me I'm a little girl because I'm 21 and she's 28.
Did she ever pay you $150 for towards the security?
Yes, she did.
Why should you get March rent back? You lived there part of March.
Because I didn't stay there.
I know you didn't stay the whole time, but
That was 2 weeks. That was
yeah,
2
but
weeks.
but when the first day of March begins, you owe the rent for that month. Now, you have a counterclaim against her for $600 because because once things hit the fan with you guys, she said, "Give me the car back."
Correct.
All right. Now, the car was not registered in your name yet. You hadn't finished paying for it.
Correct. I
So
only
you-
had the car for 2 days.
Okay, so you gave her the car back.
Correct. Because came Sunday, everything blew up into proportion. And now it's, I just want my car back. So an officer told me I had to give her back the car because legally she's still the owner with her
Okay, but
obtaining the
so
title.
why are you suing for $600 instead of $200?
Because I also helped her fix that windshield on that car.
Okay, what evidence do you have of that?
When we were on the highway and basically the hood flipped backwards and it smashed and shattered the windshield while we were still in the car.
And therefore, and keep going.
We went half on it.
And when was that? Once
That
you were
was
in
in
possession of the
February.
car or before?
No, before I was in possession of the
So
car.
why did you go halves on it?
Because
Just as if...
Yeah.
Okay, so then how is it that you should be able to collect on it now? If you did it as an act of kindness with somebody who you were getting along with, do you think that courts are in the business of analyzing your entire relationship and then separating okay, who paid for the salad that day and who gave this person that gift? We don't do that. That's money that you spent, the money that you spent. All right, now... The $500 for slander, tell me about that.
Okay, now, there was an altercation. I didn't want to be in the house. So what I didn't want to be there, I had called the cops.
When you said they jumped you, did you mean they actually jumped you, like they
Yes.
physically hit you?
Yes.
How did they hit you?
Pretty much it started because that morning...
Not why, how? Like physically, did they slap you? Did they punch
No,
you?
she punched me in my stomach while I'm pregnant.
Did you punch her in the stomach?
No, I didn't punch her in the stomach, Your Honor.
Did you punch her at all?
I punched her in her face because why
punched
that
a
happened?
a pregnant
why
woman in
that
her face?
happened was because after the argument, she tried to get on the cop phone and call the cops on me, right? So I'm in the background, I'm saying, no, I'm her roommate and she's trying to get me out. So as I was saying that in the background, she got upset. She attempted to push me. I let the first...
She attempted to
She pushed me.
Okay.
I let the first one slide. She pushed me again. That's when I choked her and I mushed her like, yo, don't put your hands on me because I ain't touch you. From there, we started
Is
touching.
that what you meant by punch her in the face, mushing her?
No. After the mush, that's when we physically, she hit, I hit. We both was hitting each other. But I did not hit her in her stomach. I was going for her face. I was trying to leak her face. Okay? I was
now,
not hitting
let's
her
really
stomach
explain this
because
in
if it was so
logical
much like
theory.
that.
I have a question for you. Why are you suing for slander?
Oh, because her and her sister decided they were going to call DIFUS on me because I had her boyfriend escorted from the premises. They said that I do
What did
cocaine.
they tell DIFUS?
They said that I do drugs. They said I left my child unattended for days and that she had to come and get my child.
How do you know they called DIFUS? How do you know what they told DIFUS?
Oh, because she was out there screaming to the officer, don't worry about me getting my money. I'm just going to call DIFUS instead. And then when the DIFUS officer came to my mother's house at 3 a.m, she said, we got an anonymous tip.
Yeah.
I said, no, it wasn't anonymous. Serafina Muslim called you. She said, how did you know? And her name is
Did you
Lisa
call
Benzer.
DIFUS on her?
No, my sister, which is Chrissy Bryant, is her name, not this one.
My God, I feel sorry for your children. What ended up happening with the DIFUS complaint?
I had to comply with drug tests and counseling and all of this other random things, which none of it was necessary because all of the tests came back negative. So that was just literally a waste of my time as well as theirs.
Why would you call DIFUS to get back at somebody?
I told you I wasn't the one.
Yeah, but how'd your sister call DIFUS?
Because
that's because you had her
That's
do
on
it.
her. I didn't have
She
to.
gave
I
her
could
my
have did it
information
myself.
because she told me.
And I was telling my sister things that she was doing, having my boyfriend watch the baby while she have sex with other guys while she's pregnant.
Well,
what
when
do you
did
mean?
this occur?
What do you mean? So why would my sister know everything? Then you trying to kick me out? You trying to kick me out the house?
What evidence do you have that she was doing drugs?
Is in my phone. Which one of y'all took the blunt off the table?
Yeah, that was between her and her boyfriend. They left it in my house because he was getting high off Suboxone. So I'm like, okay, well, who took it off the table? Because my son's in here, which means if you don't have it, my son can pick it up.
Let me see your
I have
text.
proof. Let me stroll to it.
Thank you.
So, somebody moves their boyfriend or girlfriend in. They're saying, look, I rented that room. I can bring whoever I want in every night.
No, I think not. I think there at some point you've got to start sharing some of those utilities and maybe even some of the responsibilities.
Can the other person just say, you can't do it? Well, I don't care about utilities. You just can't bring somebody in every night. That wasn't our deal.
Absolutely. I mean,
Well, how many nights a week then does a boyfriend or girlfriend get to stay over for free?
Maybe one night. One night.
One night a week?
No, not a week.
You know where that goes, don't
Yeah.
you? Going inside the courtroom.
Which one of y'all took that blunt that was in the kitchen? Not me. I'ma ask him, but he didn't smoke nothing. He had a cig. Okay, because it's gone. It was there all day. Now it's just disappeared. When y'all left, and I checked everywhere before I hit you. And your story is what?
That was between her and her boyfriend smoking in the house. I asked him several times not to smoke in the house. They didn't want to comply. Then there was a blunt left in the kitchen. So yeah, which one of you took it? Oh no, we didn't take it. Yes, you did. Because now my son picked it up. No, one of you took it.
I'm concerned because you're 8 months pregnant, and I'm kind of concerned that the way that read is who took my blunt as opposed to who took the blunt. There's nothing there about, I got a kid, you people left that lying around. Nothing in there about that. But you are so smart that you reread the text and you were ready for that. That shows a really advanced mind that I am impressed with, and you should be using it for good. You're 21 years old and you have 2 kids now. Make decisions that are not just good for you, but good for them too. Let's discuss your lawsuit. You're suing for March, you're not entitled to it. You lived there part of March, you owe March. You're suing for the deposit. The deposit's $150, so I'm ordering her to pay back your $150. But put a pin in that because there's a counterclaim against you. The counterclaim is for $600 for the car sale, but you had only paid $200, so you don't get $600. What you get instead is $200, which I am ruling in your favor on. And then there's a $500 for slander. On the one hand, we want people who are seeing things that harm children to talk to DIFUS and tell them that. On the other hand, we don't want people to use DIFUS as a revenge tool against people. And I can't help but be a tiny bit suspicious when it's your sister who calls and when you're, according to her, saying to the police, don't worry, I'll just make my complaint to DIFUS. And when it only happens, not at the time that she has your boyfriend watching her kid, not then. It only happens after everything hits the fan with you guys and the fist fight and the leaving and the anger. That's when it happens. Because then what you've done is you have turned a government agency that is meant for the health and safety and welfare of children into your own personal revenge tool. And that is not okay. So I rule in your favor in the amount of the $500 and the $200, which is a total judgment in your favor of $700, reduced by the $150 that you owe her. Net judgment in favor of the defendant in the amount of the $550.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the defendant prevails. How do you feel about the outcome of it? You sound like a wild pair of girls together.
She's a liar. She just totally lied, and I don't see how the first month she overcharged me $550. Why the $100 that she owed me on the first month?
The judge explained it to you, and she listened very carefully.
No, I'm talking the first month. She charged me an extra $100. Where's my $100 at from the first month? She only talking about March.
Bottom line is, you two obviously can't get along together. You made a quick decision to move in. That was kind of stupid.
Yeah, trying to help her out. She needed my money because she's broke.
Well.
You right.
Officer McIntosh has some documents you must sign. He'll keep you apart, and he's out there. Okay, thank you very much. Take them, officer. Okay, Ms. Balthazar, how are you doing now? You prevailed. You proved it was slander. That's pretty good. How you satisfied?
Yeah, I am.
You know, the judge is worried about the kids, your children.
Well, never trust a woman who doesn't take care of her own children.
Do you think you learned something out of this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Never trust a woman who doesn't tend to her own children.
Thank you very much. You
Thank
must
you.
sign some documents outside, and that'll bring this very involved lawsuit to a close. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, look, I mean, if you think somebody's endangering their kids, you got to call child services, and you should really, honestly, err on the side of caution.